Hey, folks, that was faster than anticipated. Thanks for tuning into the BAMF podcast. We are 30 minutes ahead of showtime, but we're mavericks like that. We don't follow the rules. Dan and Chris are both available. Hey, we do have one audience member, sir. Thank you for joining. Feel free to comment. And here is our theme music, so you can tell this is a real show. That high-quality musical intro assures you, gentle listener, that this is a high-quality podcast made from the finest, ethically sourced geeky stuff, and a healthy farm-to-table podcast, if you will, and artisanal. And with us today is a healthy geek, Dan Taylor. How are you doing, sir?
I am good. Yourself?
I'm all right. It is a real pleasure to have you on the podcast again, sir.
Always a pleasure.
And
you're Dan one of the few that will have me, so.
We don't judge here. We wanted to talk about last time you were on. You have a really cool. You're doing Catacombs and Comedians, which is a really cool live action Dungeons and Dragons streaming show. And I neglected to introduce my co-host, and he's making monkey faces at me. So forgive me. Pump the brakes. Christopher McLaughlin is directly above me in the Brady Bunch grid. Chris, good to have you, sir. Please say hi.
Thank you. Just make sure it was one of those weird Twilight Zone things where like nobody else knew I was still alive or something.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. It's all right.
It's all the Waterloo. It's gone straight to my head.
The spotlight should be on Dan and his awesomeness. But I'm here and glad to be.
Well, Dan is doing this really cool a streaming show with comedians inside a comedy club. You're the only guy I know doing this. And I have a brick wall background just in honor of the comedy club aspect of your project.
I appreciate the improv touch there.
How's that been going for you?
It is going amazingly well. Not only am I surprised, the club bookers and owners and staff are all amazed at how well it's going. I started on a whim, doing it in one club here in Nashville, Tennessee called Zanies. And I'm doing my third show there August 23rd. And then since then I've done one show in Huntsville, Alabama at Stand Up Live. And before we even took the stage, they already booked us for our second show there. And this is a complete different set of comics. So I've got a Zanies crew, or I've got a Nashville crew at Zanies and a Huntsville crew at Stand Up Live.
Wow! So you're running the same campaign, two different parties, basically, right?
It's the same world, but they're, it's the same campaign, but I'm not running the same adventures.
Okay, cool. This is wow, I am really happy for your success. That's awesome. And you're a California guy. Is it weird at all being in the Deep South?
It is really weird, but since I'm doing a comedy Dungeons and Dragons thing, I have had so much fun making fun of the South through Dungeons and Dragons. I've created region-specific monsters, such as like in the Nashville show, I had the hot chicken. In the Huntsville, Alabama show, the mascot of their minor league team is the Trash Pandas, Angels minor league affiliate. And there you go. So I had the dire Trash Panda.
Oh, that's a beautiful thing. What does he have clutched in his fist right there?
It's a little rat.
All right. Yeah, you've got some cool art for this project. I'd like to show it off. Before we get ahead of ourselves, we should probably tell folks exactly what your project is for.
It is for, the official title would be Catacombs and Comedians presents the Oddity Offprint, a collection of 5 fearsome freaks. And I've never done a zine quest before on Kickstarter, and it just hit the right time. I know this isn't regularly the time that Kickstarter does their zine quest for zines or role-playing games, but I jumped on it because it all comes down to Steve Musgrave. He's doing the art for all these creatures and foes and weirdos. And so I wanted to show that off to everybody, and rather than just the crowd who are singing at the club and the one patron I have on my patron site.
So this art right here, this is the hot chicken, correct?
Yes, the Burnt Am is its actual name, and near like it says there, in the southern regions of the village of Nash, the meat of the burnt ham is sought after delicacy, and it actually gives you if a character can survive the Constitution check if they eat it, that gives them a little fire resistance in the game.
That is very cool. So is this kind of a mini gazetteer / monster manual?
It's more along the lines of a monster manual.
Okay.
Yeah, it's gonna. Well, now I just announced an hour ago that we're going to do a stretch goal, and hopefully we'll be adding the Dragonado because everybody loves their tornadoes down here. And so I thought,
And there's the art.
Yeah, and like it looks like a bong to me.
Oh my God, I didn't see it until you said it. Now I can't unsee it.
So that'll be our next Kickstarter, the Dragonado bong.
All right. I think you got a great merchandising idea.
Yeah, I'm not a great dungeon master or a writer, but I'm a hell of a merch guy.
That is a whole separate skill set, man. That is pretty cool. All right, so what do people get for their money on this Kickstarter?
Well, it's easy. You get, I think it's $3. We've got the PDF download, which will give you now six creatures.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 50 cents a creature.
Okay. Cheaper than a cup of coffee.
Exactly. And then and just because I want to do this as a zine, it's not, but I want to have it be in color because of Steve's amazing art. The zine's a little pricey. It's, I got $7 if you're early, $9 if you're not. Because it's not going to be thick by any means. It's not going to, it's not going to be a doorstop of a book by any means at all. It's going to be
it's a zine. It's not supposed to.
Yeah, exactly. But it's going to be in color, and more than anything, the Kickstarter, I'm not going to make any rent money off this. This isn't going to save the farm. This is just to show off the fantastic art that Steve is doing and get him a little, beer money.
I'm in favor of artists having beer money. I don't ever actually ask this question, but talking as one writer producer to another, I am scared sometimes at how much of my budget goes to artists' beer money or just artists in general.
Exactly. And Steve on this project has been an absolute trooper and gentleman and a great collaborator. We're having so much fun with this. And I shouldn't even say this, but I have not paid him a dime for any of the artwork he's provided so far. Mm-hmm. We're just having fun coming up with this stuff and creating this stuff. So as successful as it sounds that this whole Catacombs and Comedians thing has been, I haven't made a dime off of it yet either. When you consider, the comics need to get paid for their stage time and the promotion, and we've talked about paying for ads and doing all that sort of stuff and blah 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 blah. Yeah. So the main purpose, if you're not allowed to do charity events on Kickstarter, but this is a charity to pay Steve Musgrave the money he deserves for the artwork that he's provided.
Yeah, it's some beautiful art. We're looking at this piece right here of well, tell me what this is.
That is the Tainted Zombie.
Okay. This is all you, man. Tell us all about the Tainted Zombie.
I think that's an ogre and a gnome on his back. That is intestines coming out. That's not.
Yeah.
I was going to say umbilical cord. I don't know where you were going.
I was also thinking umbilical cord, or maybe hernia. So.
Yeah, but in this campaign world, there's this condition called the taint, and that's because it is fun to have 4 comics on stage and say the word taint as much as you possibly can.
That's a beautiful thing, man. That's comedy gold. I'm there with you.
And if you check out the Catacombs and Comedians podcast, the 3rd episode where we were in Huntsville, if we had a drinking game where the word taint was said, and the audience members had a drink, there would have been so many paramedics on site at that club. Because I don't know what we said more, taint or viscous. But if you're talking about viscous taint, it's a great night.
That is beautiful. We should point people to your podcast. If we want to find that, where do we? If I want to listen to the episode you just talked about, where do I go for that?
We're with the big ones right now. We're on Apple, iTunes, Spotify, and Google, I think. And a couple of the other smaller ones may have picked up whatever, that automatically do it.
Okay.
But Spotify, iTunes, and Google podcasts, you can find it. And there's links to all of them on the Catacombs and Comedians.com website.
Okay. There's a lot of content there, actually. Let me share that page real fast. Right over here, Catacombs and Comedians. All right. And this looks like a very official looking stat block.
Yeah, that's the first draft of the Hot Chicken. That art was originally from Dan Lauer. I just borrowed it. That's before Steve Musgrave became on board. And he was, Dan was gracious enough to let me use that. And I think that's pretty much how it is. Yeah, you can see there that, the consumer must make a Constitution saving throw. Not too hard, only a DC 10.
Mm-hmm. So what happens if they fail that roll?
They just suffer two points of fire damage.
Oh, it's not so bad then.
No, they're just makes you uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And there's the cock and barrel instead of the
Cracker Barrel.
Yeah. Instead of the Cracker Barrel, we have the cock and barrel,
mm-hmm.
And it's as you would expect. I'm pointing, over here, But yeah, there's where you get your little nichey, kitschy adventuring supplies in the little storefront up front, and then.
If you want to play Chinese checkers with grandma to unwind after the dinner, that's the place you can do it.
Yeah, and I think they had, they have great biscuits, and then I also came up with the Huntsville show. We have a place called the Awful House, OFFAL, which serves great intestines.
You had a logo for that, didn't you?
Yeah, there's a logo floating around on the Catacombs and Comedians website. And
oh, you got art for the characters.
Yeah, Stephen Coughlin did the art for the characters. I only work with Steve's.
Well, that's a good policy
nowadays when it comes to art.
Yeah. Well, that is really awesome, man. All right. So how is the campaign going so far?
I've had a couple generous donors, but other than that, it hasn't been going off as well as I would expect. I think there was a snag. I wasn't listed as part of Zine Quest when it launched. So I had to contact Kickstarter and say, hey, put me on there. But I've got plenty of time to do it. And again, I'm not, this isn't going to, make or break me. But I'm sure, we're only $165 away from getting it off. And I've got 19 days to do it.
Yeah, that's plenty of time. You're going to be fine.
Yeah, I've got a couple more podcasts lined up, and then I've got, and I'm ending it 3 or 4 days after the next show in Nashville, so I'll promote the fuck out of it then.
That's a good thing. And we have the explicit tag, so you can say fuck on this show, and everything is just fine. Well, this is a cool project. I'm really happy for your success with this. I was at a really funny and insightful question, and it just exited my head completely. So, Chris, I'm tagging you in. Say something entertaining and draw Dan out into conversation.
Well, I think he may actually be onto something with this notion of like losing like 1 or 2 hit points, because I'm now in love with the notion of losing 1 hit point isn't like pain; it's just like extreme awkwardness.
Yeah.
Like you could be in a tavern and hit on one of the bar maidens, and if you completely botch the roll to impress her, it's like I'm assessing a hit point of damage because you feel really awkward, like because your friends are going to flip you some good shit because you just did this so badly.
I mean, you got to remember that hit points don't necessarily specifically just constitutional damage, exactly. Physical damage to your, because. You're not able to take more physical damage the higher level you get. It's just how you're able to avoid it and, deal with it. So Hit points should affect the psyche as well as the body,
Absolutely, yes.
and as well as the digestional system.
Oh, well, how about it, Mike? Did your question come back?
No, I'm going on to other stuff. It's gone completely. Everything I turned 50 a couple months ago is that just happens sometimes.
Well, okay, let me answer your question. I did recently find a beard guy here in Tennessee, and he's doing a great job. His name is D, and this whole Catacombs and Comedians being on stage has allowed me to get a professional beard guy.
I got to tell you, you're looking like a game designer every time I talk to you, sir. you really gotta get that. You've got that full, starter kit for Old Testament prophet, and that's a little bit most of those guys have. So.
My goal is to be a Santa in a couple of years. So
I approve of this goal, sir. That is admirable.
I just can't say the word "fuck" as much, but yeah.
It depends on where you're doing your Santa act at. But,
true.
Yeah.
And if I'm just still doing it at Zany's, it's all good.
Yeah.
No, but I will let you know that doing this whole comedy thing had me up all night last night. Like, where am I going with this? How am I going to deal with this? I've got to have a plan. So I think I planned the whole season 1. Now I have seasons apparently for this. So I think I've got the season finale planned for maybe in November. And it's going to be a big crossover event between the two clubs, a whole contest of champions type of thing.
Ooh.
I like that idea. I in my previous career, 20 years ago when I was running a lot of games, occasionally I would have 2 different groups in the same world, kind of like you are. And, if every once in a while, if you're lucky and everyone's work schedules line up right, you get them all at the table at the same time. All the characters can meet each other. Kind of like when you have remember the old crossover episodes and the old TV, sitcoms back in the day?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, just like that.
That was like a summertime obsession for me, was coming up, realizing shows that are in the same universe, technically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Someone pointed out to me today on Twitter that the original really terrible Mortal Kombat movie is owned by the same company who did Samantha the Teenage Witch, that TV show on the WB or whatever.
Yeah.
And they had a promotional episode where one of the characters showed up and was Samantha's uncle by marriage. And so Samantha the Teenage Witch is canonically in the same universe as Mortal Kombat.
Well, doesn't it all come down to Timmy or Tommy from St. Elsewhere?
Oh, with the snow globe?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's Timmy's world. We're just living in it, I think.
Exactly.
So, all right. You have been pushing the foul boar a lot, especially during Twitter's recent infatuation with owlbears, thanks to the D&D movie. So you've got some cool art. Tell Chris and I about the foul boar. What's going on there?
The foul boar has become our unofficial mascot for Catacombs and Comedians. I wanted to make the owlbear is such a ridiculously dumb monster that everybody has fallen in love with 5th edition, making cute little plushies out of and things like that, and pets, and it's every druid's companion or whatever. So I wanted to come up with something that sounded like owlbear, so foul boar worked. And again, this is where I just threw it out to Steve Musgrave. I said, give me a cross between a turkey and a boar. And this is what he came up with, and it is horrifying. And once I get the image from him, and that's when I do the stat block, and because I think they say the owlbear may have been created by a wizard just experimenting. Well, mine was created by a drunk wizard who wanted the ultimate delicacy of pork and bacon and turkey together, and this is what he came up with, and it didn't work out because it's a nasty creature that fears nothing. And we did use it in the second game at Nashville, the one that we have a video of, you can see on YouTube on the Zero Level Media YouTube channel. It's not great quality, it's shot from the balcony, and it gives you that sort of, those 2 old guys in the Muppet Show, you can critique it like they do. And we had a guest player, comedian Aaron Weber, who did it, who had never ever played any Dungeons and Dragons before in his life. I mean, not a single die drop ever. And he did a fantastic job playing a half-orc fighter, battle axe for hire. And the Falbor was a hit. And I put 2 of these creatures stuck on a barge with my party so they couldn't run away. And all hell broke loose.
I am talking on mute like a rank amateur. Forgive me, sir. I just found your show on YouTube, and there's a bunch of companies that have names very similar to Level Zero. So I had to find it on Catacombs and Comedians. But yeah, this looks really good. I will put this up in the show notes. People can check it out. It's not very long. It's just a 2-hour show, which frankly is a nice watchable length for a actual play show compared to some of the 4-hour marathons and Critical Role.
Yeah, where you only have an hour and a half to be on stage.
Yeah.
You know, because the staff are like,
They
we
wanna
want to
go
go home. We're done.
Yeah.
The first time I did it, I ended early. I think it only lasted just over an hour, and the staff hadn't dropped their checks yet. So there was, so they were angry at me at that. So now I just wait. And in fact, I think in this show, you hear me say, okay, the staff have dropped their checks. I'm going to wrap this up.
Nice. Well, I think my old comedian days. I mean, you got the intro guy. You got the host who does 5 or 10 minutes. Then you got the what do they call them? Feature. Then the headliner, and occasionally you can have 2 features depending on what club you're at. So add them all together. It's about 90 minutes altogether.
Yeah, and so we just do it all. We go straight out there and introduce ourselves quick, start, roll for initiative and get rolling.
How has the audience response been?
Audience response has been, except for the 1 or 2 couples that show up not realizing what it is.
Yeah.
And like, what the hell? I think, there's the Awful House. I love that. I'm going to get sued, but whatever. Yeah, if Marvel and DC couldn't take me down for superhero happy hour, they can't take me down for this.
Satire is protected speech in the United States. I think you should be fine.
But the crowd, what's great is the crowd gets to participate because my players don't know what the hell they're doing up on stage. Some of them have never. One of them hasn't even read the rules at all. Few of them play maybe once a month with their improv group. So they'll ask the audience, what do I do now? What do I do here? And if someone in the audience comes up with a good idea, I'll flip them an inspiration token that I say, take home to your home game and tell your dungeon master that I say you have inspiration to use in his or her game.
I'm on mute once again, but yeah, that is awesome, man. And here is the logo you got for Cock and Barrel.
Yes. Again, cock is a funny word.
Cock is a hilarious word.
Because it's a C, it sounded both in and the beginning, and that's the only reason why. And it was a fun logo to make. Mm-hmm. You should see the other version that got rejected, but
describe it to me, sir.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That'll be on the video that's on Pornhub.
Understood. That's where the real money is, on Pornhub. I understand. So
I'll be there eventually.
I think we all will. Well, that is really cool. Let's do one last tour through some of the art. We talked about this guy.
The Taint.
Okay, here is the Dire Trash Panda.
Which wasn't as strong as I had hoped with this. So I'm beefing it up. So if you listen to the 3rd podcast, the Huntsville show, you go, oh, the Dire, Trash Panda is not that tough. It's going to be tougher in the actual Oddity Offprint. I'm boosting it up a little bit. I mean, what I'm doing is people are paying $10 a ticket to come watch people play test my monsters. That's the whole thing.
It's a sweet gig, man. I'm really jealous of the fun you're having with this.
I could franchise it out and you talk to your comedy clubs out there in Colorado. And
you're joking, but that's actually not a bad idea, man. So
I do want to, what I do want to do is do it because I wanted to do a streaming show where I get the comedians and we play, just like, opposite Critical Role.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, with a group of comics and we do it regular. But getting the schedule of a stand-up comic is just so ridiculous that I can't arrange it. So, I've got my Nashville crew, I've got my Huntsville crew. There is talk of a show in Birmingham coming up. I don't know yet. You heard it here first. But what I will do is I'm getting like one player from each group, and then maybe a couple other comedians I know elsewhere in the States, and that will be the streaming show. So that'll be yet another Catacombs and Comedians show taking place. I'm like the Dick Wolf of Dungeons and Dragons comedy. I knew Chris would get that one.
Well, yeah, talking about art, here is the Dragon NATO. It looks like a bong. Talked about this guy earlier. And that is cool. Oh, the murder hobo.
No, homicidal hobo.
Homicidal hobo. Okay.
Herbert. Yeah, murder hobo's just used too much. The one art direction I gave him on this one is give him an Emmett Kelly look.
The Bindle stiff puts it over the top for me.
And he's cursed and diseased.
So is this just one NPC, or is there a whole tribe of these guys?
There's a whole bunch of them.
Okay.
Dan, by any chance, have you ever seen the great lost TV pilot Look Well?
I don't believe so.
Conan O'Brien and Robert Smigel put together a pilot for NBC that NBC rejected because it was too funny. But thankfully, it found its way out into the wild. And the premise is it stars Adam West as a guy who was a TV cop back in the 70s. But now it's like 10 years later and he's like scrounging for work. So he decides he starts looking at an honorary police badge he got 10 years ago and decides to go out and use the skills he learned from his TV show to try to solve actual crimes.
I love it.
It's brilliant. It is absolutely wonderful. And one of my favorite gags he has to infiltrate a rich person benefit for homeless people. So to infiltrate the homeless people benefit, he walks in dressed as like an Emmett Kelly homeless guy, complete with Bindle stiff and exaggerated patches. And in that great Adam West style, excuse me, homeless, excuse me. And it's just, that's one of the things that on my worst day will make me laugh. So yeah, I appreciate the classic Bindle stiff image.
Oh my God. I found the intro for that. You guys want to see 30 seconds of the intro?
Do it.
It would be interesting to see if YouTube can throw us off for a thing that was never broadcast.
We'll do 15 seconds, but yeah, they like to throw us off. Let me make sure I've got the audio shared, because really the music is what makes this.
Yes.
Chrome tab, share tab audio. All right, there we go. You guys hear that? That's a great intro.
Well worth your time and effort to track down.
I will track that down. There's not enough Adam West in the world.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. I was very, very proud when I met the man himself after 3 solid hours of people talking to him about Batman. We had a lovely conversation about Look Well. And in fact, we started laughing so hard talking about Look Well, he actually forgot to finish signing my photo. So I had to loop back around the line just to get him to finish writing his name. And one of those great moments you only get at cons, they said, well, okay, let's ask the guy who's next in line if he minds if he just pop in and do this. And it was a guy that was like in a perfect head-to-toe Riddler costume. And he was so nice about it. And it's like, how many times in your life do you get to say, yeah, the Riddler did me a solid at the show? It's one of those things that just makes you want to keep going to cons.
That's a beautiful thing. Dad, you launched your Kickstarter during Gen Con. Were you worried about that at all?
I didn't realize it.
All right, that's cool, man.
Yeah, I just whatever. Yeah, I wasn't. No, I mean, like if I was worried about this was going to make or break it, then I'd be concerned. But I think I'd set 500 as the goal. I think we can do that it was a total of 26 days or something like that.
Yeah, you got plenty of time, man. You'll be all
Yeah.
right. So,
I mean, I'm sure this podcast alone, this stream, it will put it over the edge. And
well, why must you mock me, sir? We're the Mighty Banff Podcast, and the boost you get from this publicity.
I'm going to have to, I'm going to have to hire somebody to help me mail everything out.
You're going to have to hire someone to carry that wheelbarrow full of cash that they get you from Kickstarter.
No, hey, Steve can come and get the money himself.
Well, there's that, yeah. Well, when they send you that money in a big U-Haul, you need a hefty stevedore to carry it to your doorstep. So.
Oh, it will be great to make real money someday doing this stuff.
It does happen. It's surprising, but
I have collected 3 Chet stubs as a paid dungeon master now. So
that's a small and elite club you belong to, sir.
I don't mean to brag, but I've almost made $700.
That you have exceeded, or that's about as much money as I made for comedy in my life. So. Just I used to gig around southern and central Arizona 20 years ago. Jeez. Back in the day. So, Dan, it has been a pleasure having you on. Just to recap for our listeners and viewers, the fastest way to find a Kickstarter is tinyurl.com/Oddity Offprint. And you can find Dan on the Twitters at danleontaylor.com. Or if you just do a Kickstarter search on Kickstarter for Oddity Offprint, or you just search on Google, that comes up pretty quickly as well. Got about 20 days left. It looks like a really fun book. Please support Dan. He's a great guy. He's a funny fellow, and he deserves your money. So,
and one more final note: these are limited at 99.
Only on 99 copies.
99 copies.
Oh, you're doing an offset print run.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
I didn't make a big deal about it, but I think I hit the wrong button and limited it at 99 for some reason, so I'm just sticking with it.
Okay, so this is a collector's item.
Exactly. I think the next update I might point that out and say each one will be individually numbered.
Just a couple figurines. All right. Nice. All right, Chris.
Yes.
Before I wrap things up too quickly, any closing thoughts from you, sir?
Yeah, well, I just echoing what you were saying about Dan being a great guy who totally deserves your support, and honestly, I think this is your chance to get in on something that you'd be able to brag to people. Yeah, this was just it was just I got there in the early days, and now it's this big huge thing because it's such a brilliant idea. And really, I mean, if there's anything this world needs more, it's games and laughs, and to combine them, man, that's peanut butter and jelly. That's genius. It's a fabulous idea, and it deserves to succeed, and I have every faith that it will.
And to throw the word taint around more often.
Oh, well, God be with you. The show that teat is your word.
I'm a perfect mark for your act because I'm giggling like a schoolgirl every time you say taint. I can't even help myself. If like the big bad evil guy in this season of your show was just the taint, and he was,
you wait and see.
Yeah. All right. Hey, it's been a pleasure talking to you. Let me play our contractually obligated high quality musical outro. It gets better every time. Hey, folks, thanks for listening to this quality, artisanally handcrafted podcast on the Banff Podcast Network of podcasts. And we will catch you next time. Take care, all.
Thank you.
Good night, citizens.